Hey KentCov kids, Mr. Kevin here. Can you speak or read more than one language? Many of you can. In the area that surrounds KentCov, over 130 different languages are spoken. So what do you do when you can't read or understand a different language? Well, if you want to understand it, it needs to be translated. Translation is changing words from one language to another. The Bible that we read, it wasn't written in English. Most of it was written in Hebrew or in Greek. And sometimes a word, it doesn't make sense when it's translated. One of the languages spoken in the KentCov community is Japanese. And there is this word that I love in Japanese. Kuchi sabishi. Translated directly to English, it means lonely mouth. Huh? Well, you can feel lonely, but can your mouth feel lonely? Well, no. But if you understand the meaning, you can translate that word correctly. Kuchi sabishi is eating when you feel lonely or bored, or when you keep eating those chips because they taste so good, and not because you're hungry. You wouldn't say, "My mouth is lonely" in English, but you might say, "I've got the munchies." And this is especially true in poetry. And Psalm 8 is all poetry. The poetry of the Psalms use words to make you imagine and think of God in a different way. There's this part of Psalm 8 that goes like this. What is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them? You have made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. See that last bit of verse 5? So this psalm has been translated from Hebrew. Those words were up on the screen, even though maybe you couldn't read them as I said them in English. But the English translation doesn't really describe the awesomeness of this verse. We see the words, crown them with glory and honor. That's God's glory and honor, by the way. But the phrase in Hebrew, it uses a word closer to adorn. But what does adorn mean, right? Well, it's like a robe or a stole, that thing that looks like a scarf that Pastor Corey received from the church. Something like that. Placed over you, wrapping around you, adorning you. The glory and honor of God. The stars in the sky as far as the universe can reach are adorning us. That's way cooler than a crown on your head, right? So now, every time you look up at the night sky, think about how all those stars that stretch out forever and ever are like a giant and endless hug from God. And you know that because you know the words of Psalm 8 and you know what they mean. Something to think about, right? So think about it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.